A new Amnesty International report is giving us a deeper look at the harrowing effect gang violence has had on children in Haiti. We want to warn you, some of the details of this report may be disturbing. Amnesty International interviewed 51 Haitian boys and girls ages 10 to 17 in 2024. Many of them spoke about being coerced into working for violent gangs. In many cases, young girls say they were subject to sexual violence, including being raped in order to save their lives and that of their families. Amnesty International called the violent environment in Haiti's capital of Port-au-Prince, quote, nothing short of an attack on childhood. For more, let's bring in Jacqueline Charles. She's a Caribbean correspondent for the Miami Herald. Jacqueline, very disturbing indeed. Before we get to the report, can you please give us an update on what's been going on inside Haiti politically and in regards to the ongoing violence?
Well, yes. I mean, today, as we were preparing to talk, a gang set fire to the largest public hospital. It is the only place that someone who doesn't have the means can go and get dialysis treatment. Just in December, they opened fire on the courtyard, and two journalists were killed. Seven others were injured. They were waiting for a press conference. There still isn't an election, although the head of the presidential council says that he sees elections this year. But that remains to be seen. As we're speaking, gangs have occupied an area above the capital in the mountains. It's a farming community. More than 100 people have been killed. People have been forced out of their homes. People who are self-sufficient are now dependent on others for 3 meals a day if they can get that. And the reason why this is critical is because they're trying to move into the last parts of the capital that are not currently under occupied by gangs. And if they do, then Port-au-Prince will just be completely controlled by gangs.
How has this gang violence, particularly involving children, gotten worse in recent years?
I have to tell you, I was in Haiti around the same time that Amnesty was there and was doing this reporting, and it has gotten worse. You have children who have been forced to flee with their parents. They can't go to school. In many cases, when the gangs do move into these communities, they are raping, and oftentimes it's a gang rape situation. Even in the camps where many children and their parents have had to flee, there are now over 1 million people who have been forced out of their homes, were displaced. They are not safe. The camps don't have adequate lighting. They don't even have latrines sometimes. The UN just issued a report that says that there were 6,500 cases of gender-based violence last year. A third of them were rapes, 64% committed by armed gangs, and they acknowledge that this is an undercount. This is just what they know, the people who managed to report what has happened.
Which we know often doesn't happen out of fear of retaliation or what have you. For many of these children, though, there's no place for them to turn to other than gangs. Can you explain that?
Yes, the other reports that have come out is the fact that, gang recruitment has gone up by 70%, and a lot of it is children. People will tell you about seeing young kids, 8, 9 years old, with AK-47 and other automatic weapons. They are in these poor communities where there are no jobs, there's no food, there really is no future. And so the gangs, sometimes they're left with no choice but to join the gangs, or joining the gang becomes a matter of survival. They're used as lookouts. And today where we're seeing the cuts in U.S. aid and other funding, it begs to, be asked, while you have 1,000 foreign troops on the ground being led by Kenya, what sort of assistance, what kind of money is going to be available to go into these programs to encourage children, generation lost, not to continue to join these gangs and to help them recover from the trauma that this violence is creating?
What needs to be done? What can be done?
Well, I think it has to be a multi-pronged situation. While you're focusing on how do you return security, how do you take some of these communities out of the clutches of gangs, you have to figure out a way on how to make it safe for children to say no. You have to give them opportunities. And that is not something that we've yet seen. I've been asking, the folks who get paid more than I do, are you having these conversations in terms of how do you, secure communities? How do you put investments in communities to give people something to fight for? And how do you give children, especially, the alternatives? Because that doesn't exist right now. Even in terms of jobs, like factory jobs, Haiti has lost tens of thousands of jobs as a result of this violence. Right now, the international airport continues to be shut down because of an FAA restrictions after gangs shot at 3 U.S. airliners. There are no domestic flights. And if you're in the capital, you're completely locked in. It's like a huge prison, if someone
Mm.
has once, described it, but you have to break it. You have to figure out how to create opportunities for a better tomorrow.
Jacqueline Charles, thank you.
Thank you.